let's learn how to draw a face and facial structure. Let's start by drawing our gesture. Heads also have gestures, but we're going to start with our basic shape. We're just focusing on structure. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a circle. And then from the middle of that circle, we're going to bring a line down from the middle. Make sure it's about half of that circle. So if you find half, repeat that down at the bottom. And then we're going to bring the shield shape all the way down. There's the bottom of her chin. So notice where her jaw is. She has a pretty square jaw, right? We'll bring that up. And then from there, we can draw in her ear. And then we're going to draw in her neck. So her neck has a bit of a curve. So you can see, from the middle line, you want to leave, this looks like about 1 inch for me. It could be different for you, but just make sure that the neck is not too thick. Okay, go all the way to the neck, and then you can kind of find the collarbone, which comes out like this, and then that makes the back of her shoulder. So a lot of people know how to draw portraits, but they don't know how to connect them to bodies. So hopefully after this, you will be a lot better at it. So we're drawing a simple kind of head, neck structure, body structure, head and shoulders. So let's now draw in the line of her eyes. So you can kind of see that the line of her eyes is higher than halfway. Kind of gauge where it is and then start to draw that in. I can already see that I made her ears too high. Once I put in the eyes, I'm like, ooh, the ears are too high. So you'll see that the eye, like the line of the eye starts to curve back this way. Because if you think of a head, the head starts to bend this way. So you see the line that I'm doing with this line here? Oh, it's almost like if you took a ball and you sliced the sides of the ball, the head is flat on both sides. Flatter, so that's kind of where it would be sliced. You can see the shadow on her cheekbone here. Bring that all the way down. So you kind of have this plane on this side. Then wherever her cheekbone is on this side, you want to extend it on the opposite side. So it kind of comes out this way. So if her eyes are here, her eyebrows will be a little bit higher. Let's map out her nose. So her nose kind of lines up with her cheekbone. So let's try to draw the bottom plane of the nose. I'm just drawing the bottom plane. I'm not really drawing anything else. And then let's map out her mouth. So she's got really prominent big lips. Try to just draw the shape of her mouth. It's almost like a teardrop shape. A teardrop shape from the side, right? And you kind of see it looks like a flame or something. So have a look at her chin. Her chin should be the same height as her mouth. So make sure you left enough room for the chin. Now I'm gonna follow my nose to the bottom of the ear and then the top of the eye to the top of the ear. The ear should be about here. So now you've kind of drawn a structure. I know it kind of looks like a futuristic robot right now, but I promise it'll turn into a human soon. I kind of drew my gesture and my shape in one step. Sometimes that happens and it's okay. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my line. If you look at the triangle shape that's between her eyes, okay, see the triangle shape that's kind of between her eyebrows and her eyes? We're gonna start there. So think about how much distance there is between the side of her face and that triangle shape. And let's just put that in. So there's one side, you can really see it on her. There's the other side. And then from there, we are going to find the bridge of her nose. I realize that the bottom of my nose is a little bit off. That's why you do the line last, is because it gives you a second chance. A second chance to fix anything that is not looking so good. Now we're gonna block in the nose. So there's a really heavy line around the nose. That's a cast shadow actually. And then for her nose, like how do you draw nostrils on noses? It's very challenging. So I'm gonna show you my best trick for drawing nostrils, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna draw a ball on the center of her nose here, and then kind of another ball at the side of her nose here, right? So we're gonna divide those two into two different circles. This one's a little bit bigger, this one's a little bit smaller, and then the nostril goes right in between those. Okay, so there's one nostril, and then this one, there's a little bit of this nostril showing. It's a little hard to see. You can kind of put that in on the side there. This part is tricky, so you know, you can fix it a little bit later. Like, let's put everything in and then you can adjust it as you see fit to get the best likeness. Okay, so from the nose, now let's put the eyes in. And the reason why I start with the nose is because the nose goes into the eye sockets, and it's easier for me to start with the nose before drawing the eyes because it's right in the middle. So let's start with the left eye first. It goes right into the curve of that nose, and notice where the eye starts to peak. What I mean by peaking is eyes have a curve. Your eyes have a curve. So right now, this is the peak. The peak is where that curve is the highest. So for her eye on the left, you can see that the peak is closer to the left. On both of the eyes, the peak is closer to the left. That's what happens when the eye turns 3/4 view. It no longer peaks in the middle, it peaks closer to one side. So make sure you pay attention to that peak because it's really important when you are drawing faces. So we're gonna put both eyes in at the same time. Okay, so there's one eye. The other eye also starts in the corner here, peaks a little bit higher. If you like to support the channel and the creation of free arts education, become a member on Patreon. Her eyes are not open super wide, but there is an eyelid that we can kind of put up here. So have a look to see if the eyes feel balanced. Does one feel a little bit lower than the other? You know, what is the likeness so far? Do the corners of the eyes line up properly? And then if all of those questions check out, then you can darken the pupils. Sometimes it's hard to draw the bottom eyelid because it can make somebody look very tired. So just keep this part very gentle so that she doesn't look super tired. The next thing I'm going to do is probably work on the mouth because the mouth is quite difficult for most people. All right, so on top of this teardrop shape, I'm going to start to draw out her lips. So she's got a really big lower lip, and she also has a shadow under her lip. So it just makes her lip look even bigger. So just a tip, you probably want to add a little bit of shading to the corners of the mouth. And now I'm going to start to draw out the side of her face. Now that I have a more accurate idea of where everything is, you can start to put in those subtle curves. I'm just adding a little bit of shading to the side of the nose here. I'm kind of guessing what her eyebrows look like because I can't really see them. From what I remember, her eyebrows are really slanty, like they slant up. But the next thing I'm going to show you is how to draw the hair. So for the hair, what we're going to do is just kind of draw in the bangs. So let's draw in the top of her bangs where we think they'll go. And then she's kind of got a strand of hair that comes down this way. And then she's got a bump here that's a little bit higher than her head, higher than the back of her skull. Okay, so remember, hair has volume. So make sure that you don't just make it stick to the side of her head. Here, stick out a little bit more. And then for her braids, you can just kind of draw some bumps just to suggest the braids. And then for her bangs, let's just draw a nice round shape that goes over her skull like that. And then what you can do is you can take the bottom of your pencil and just follow this line and just go like this, just shade up. This is my favorite way to shade hair. Okay, and then once we have her bangs in, I feel like it needs to be even bigger. But you can do the same thing from the top and just kind of shade your way down. And then usually I just do some very simple shading, just using the side of my pencil. And I can kind of like shade the side of her face and kind of shade the side of her neck. Join a virtual class to learn live from our professional artists. Get creative assignments, individual guidance, and real-time feedback on your artwork. Start today and level up your practice. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an upload. If you'd like to support the channel and the creation of free arts education, become a member on Patreon for behind-the-scenes perks and online classes at Wing Canvas. Join our Art Nerd community with the links down below. If you enjoyed this video, here are some other videos you can check out next.